We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar is on 3-day Russia visit to meet his counterpart and also to attend key business meets focusing on trade, technology and cultural cooperation. India slams Pakistan at UNSC over religious conversions of minorities, accuses them of using vulnerable women as weapon of persecution. The path to Russia-Ukraine peace remains uncertain as US and other allies prepare to work out military support for Kyiv while the trilateral meeting set to take place in Budapest. And White House launches official TikTok account as ban remains on hold. And on to the details now. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is visiting Russia, during which he will co-chair the 26th session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation today. The External Affairs Minister will also address the India-Russia Business Forum meeting in Moscow. He will also meet Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and review the bilateral agenda and share perspective on regional and global issues. Also, the visit aims to further strengthen the long-standing and time-tested India-Russia special and privileged strategic partnership. Dr. S. Jaishankar will be in Russia till August 21st. And at a time of tariff wars launched by US President Donald Trump, India and China are moving in the direction of improving their relations. Beijing's top diplomat Wang Yi called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday, just ahead of the Indian leader's visit to China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. He also agreed to resume supplies of rare earths, fertilizers and tunnel boring machines to India on a day he held border talks with India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. Here's more.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday on the second and final day of his India visit. Referring to the meeting on social media, the PM called for stable, predictable, constructive ties between India and China, while saying that India-China relations have made steady progress since his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Kazan last year, and looks forward to their next meeting in Tianjin on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. Earlier in the day, the Chinese top diplomat also held the 24th round of the special representative level talks on the boundary question with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. Wang said the setbacks the bilateral relationship suffered over the last 5 years following the 2020 Galwan clash were not in the interest of the two sides.
The setbacks we experienced in the past few years were not in the interests of the people of our two countries. And then in October last year, President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi had an important meeting in Kazan. That meeting pointed the direction for the development of our bilateral relations and provided impetus for the proper settlement of the boundary question.
NSA Doval referred to the recently improved relations since last year's meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping in Kazan, which led to a border patrolling agreement and initiated an overall thawing of frozen ties.
There has been an upward trend. Borders have been quiet. There have been peace and tranquility. Our bilateral engagements have been more substantial. And we are most grateful to our leaders who in Kazan in October last were able to set a new trend, and we have profited a lot since then. The new environment that has been created has helped us in moving ahead in the various areas that we were working on.
The NSA also said the SR-level talks assume special significance as Prime Minister Modi is set to visit China for the SCO summit on the 31st of August. This year also marks the 75 years of diplomatic relations.
Our Prime Minister will be visiting for the SCO summit shortly, and therefore I think that this SR-level talks assume a very special. This is the 75th year of our diplomatic relations, and it's a time to celebrate.
Sources also informed that China has agreed to resume supplies of rare earths, fertilizers and tunnel boring machines to India in another sign of improving relations. At the same time, India has reiterated its stance on Taiwan, which remains unchanged, where it has a relationship with the island territory focused on economic, technology and cultural ties, which will be continued. Gautam Roy's report, DD India.
Well, India has slammed Pakistan at the UNSC over forced religious conversions of thousands of vulnerable women and girls. Addressing the open debate on conflict-related sexual violence, Indian diplomat Elders Matthew reminded UNSC about the violations by Pakistani army on Bangladeshi women in 1971, at a time when Pakistan is sitting as non-permanent member. He also added that the atrocities by the Pakistan still continues unabated.
Mr. President, before I conclude, I would like to briefly address the baseless allegation raised by the delegate of Pakistan. The utter impunity with which Pakistan army perpetrated heinous crimes of gross sexual violence against hundreds of thousands of women in erstwhile East Pakistan in 1971 is a matter of shameful record. This deplorable pattern continues unabated and with impunity to this day. Rampant abduction, trafficking, child early and forced marriages and domestic servitude, sexual violence and forced religious conversions of thousands of vulnerable women and girls as weapons of persecution towards religious and ethnic minority communities are reported and chronicled, including in the recent OHCHR reports. These reports highlight that the vile acts by Pakistan are also validated by its judiciary. It is ironical that those who perpetrate these crimes are now masquerading as champions of justice. The duplicity and hypocrisy is self-evident.
Well, asserting that a multifaceted approach is need of the hour in today's times when the world grapples with various conflicts, the diplomat said that the focus should be on adopting survivor-centric approach in prevention and response mechanisms. He added that India has taken several steps to deal with the issue and is ready to share the experience.
Underlining the seriousness attached to the issue by India, Prime Minister Modi joined the Circle of Leadership on the prevention of and response to sexual exploitation and abuse in United Nations operations. In our experience, the female engagement teams that India deployed in peacekeeping missions across conflict zones have been tremendously successful in connecting with local communities, addressing gender-sensitive issues, engaging with victims, and enhancing the effectiveness of peacekeeping operations.
Well, the NDA Vice Presidential nominee C.P. Radhakrishnan will file his nomination today. A seasoned BJP leader from Tamil Nadu with an RSS background, Radhakrishnan will file nominations with around 160 members, including 20 proposers and 20 supporters expected to be present. Prime Minister Narendra Modi introduced Radhakrishnan to NDA MPs in a parliamentary board meeting on Tuesday. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be Radhakrishnan's campaign manager. While Union Minister Kiren Rijiju will serve as his election agent. Also, Radhakrishnan brings extensive experience to the table, having served as a member of parliament and governor of various states, including Jharkhand and Telangana. Well, Union Home Minister Amit Shah is set to introduce 3 bills today in the lower house of the Parliament. The Constitution 113th Amendment Bill 2025 will be introduced in the Lok Sabha. The bill will introduce Section 5A to Article 239A to address the issue of the removal of elected representatives. The Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill 2025 will also be introduced for discussion. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will also introduce the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Amendment Bill 2025 in the lower house, a bill further to amend the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Act of 2019. Well, the Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Bill 2025 will also be introduced, a bill to promote and regulate the online gaming sector to protect individuals, especially youth and vulnerable populations, from the adverse social, economic, psychological and privacy-related impacts of such games to ensure the responsible use of digital technologies. The Indian Institute of Management Amendment Bill 2025 will be taken up for consideration and passing also. The bill further to amend the Indian Institute of Management Act 2017 as passed by Lok Sabha to be taken into consideration. And ISRO Chairman V. Narayanan on Tuesday said the space agency has been working on a rocket as high as a 40-story building to place 75,000 kg satellite in low Earth orbit. Delivering the convocation address of Osmania University here, Narayanan said this year the space agency has lined up with projects such as Navigation with India Constellation System, satellite and the N1 rocket, besides placing a 6,500 kg communication satellite of the USA into orbit using Indian rockets. At the convocation, Narayanan was presented with the honorary degree of Doctorate of Science, recognizing his pivotal contributions to India's space program by Telangana Governor Jishnu Dev Verma.
Last 6 months, there are 3 major accomplishments with UST. One was Axiom program, second one is NISR, satellite launch. In another 3 months, you will come to know an important mission. A 6,500 kg communication satellite built by USA is going to be launched by Indian launcher on commercial basis. That is the place today ISRO is standing.
Well, an Indian Air Force C-130J aircraft was launched at short notice from Leh to New Delhi on Tuesday to airlift a critically injured Thai national in response to an urgent request for medical evacuation. Well, the mission was undertaken in challenging weather conditions, thereby ensuring timely medical attention and saving a precious life. The C-130J aircraft, known for flying long distances and in heavy conditions, handled this difficult mission. This operation underscores the IAF's unwavering commitment to humanitarian assistance and not just limited to security. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Colombian court lifts house arrest order for ex-president Uribe Ahmed appeal in landmark bribery case. Air Canada flight attendants end historic strike after reaching deal. Gradual service resumption begins. And Mohamed Salah wins the PFA Men's Player of the Year award for playing a key role in Liverpool's title success last season.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy. Always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lupakshi Khurana, and moving on. Updates now on Russia-Ukraine conflict. A day after US President Donald Trump offered security assurances to help resolve the conflict during a rare White House summit, the path to peace remains unclear as the US and its allies began discussions on the nature of potential military support for Ukraine. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt confirmed that US air support was an option and a possibility.
US boots will not be on the ground in Ukraine, but we can certainly help in the coordination and perhaps provide other means of security guarantees to our European allies. The President understands security guarantees are crucially important to ensure a lasting peace, and he has directed his national security team to coordinate with our friends in Europe and also to continue to cooperate and discuss these matters with Ukraine and Russia as well.
Well, Trump stated that he would not deploy U.S. ground troops to Ukraine, but said the United States might provide air support as part of a deal to end the conflict. Trump also spoke with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban on Tuesday about possibly hosting a summit with Zelensky and Putin in Budapest. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the White House talks as a major step forward towards ending the conflict and setting up a trilateral meeting with Putin and Trump. Also, as per the officials, NATO military leaders were set to meet on Wednesday to discuss Ukraine, with U.S. General Dan Kane expected to join the meeting virtually. And Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said territorial changes are often an essential component of conflict resolution.
И да, территориальные изменения очень часто являются неотъемлемым компонентом достижения договоренности. Таких примеров множество. Я хочу еще раз особо подчеркнуть, мы никогда не вели речь о том, что нам просто нужно захватить какие-то территории. Ни Крым, ни Донбасс, ни Новороссия, как территории, никогда не были нашей целью. Нашей целью было защитить людей, русских людей, которые столетиями проживали на этих землях, которые открывали эти земли, проливали за них кровь и в Крыму, и на Донбассе, создавали города, Одессу, Николаев, многие другие, порты, заводы, фабрики.
Well, hopes are pinned on the latest US-backed ceasefire plan brokered by Egypt and Qatar to end the West Asia conflict. Hamas has accepted the proposal in principle, while Israel has reiterated its demand for the release of 50 hostages still held in Gaza. The plan includes a 60-day pause in fighting, partial Israeli troop withdrawal, and increased humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, mass protests continue in Tel Aviv, urging a deal. The United States continues to discuss a ceasefire proposal between Israel and Hamas. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said that the development came after Trump posted a very strong statement about this conflict on Truth Social.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Hamas accepted this proposal after the President of the United States posted a very strong statement about this conflict on Truth Social yesterday. I would refer you back to that statement. As for this proposal that Hamas has now accepted, the United States continues to discuss it, and I'll let the President weigh in on it definitively.
And moving on, Bogota's Superior Court has overturned a judge's order that former Colombia President Alvaro Uribe be held on house arrest while he appealed convictions for bribery of a public official and abuse of process. Uribe was placed on house arrest this month by Judge Sandra Liliana Heredia, who sentenced him to 12 years in a long-running case about his connections to former right-wing paramilitaries. The court said it has ruled to leave without effect the order for house arrest until the corresponding criminal court of this tribunal defines the recourse of appeal. The conviction made Uribe the country's first ex-president to ever be found guilty at trial and came less than a year before Colombia's 2026 presidential election, in which several of Uribe's allies and proteges are competing for top office. Well, the White House launched an official TikTok account on Tuesday, taking advantage of its more than 150 million US users to spread the messages of President Donald Trump. Trump has a soft spot for the popular app, crediting it with helping him gain support among young voters when he defeated Democrat Kamala Harris in the November 2024 presidential election. Past intelligence assessments have said the short video app's owners are beholden to the Chinese government and that it could be used to influence Americans. The account at White House began operation on Tuesday evening with the aim of communicating the president's policies. And U.S. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard said on Tuesday that she had revoked security clearances of 37 current and former intelligence professionals whom she accused of manipulating intelligence. Gabbard said in a social media statement that the action was taken at President Donald Trump's direction. Gabbard has repeatedly alleged weaponization of the U.S. intelligence community, and last month the U.S. Department of Justice said it was forming a strike force to assess her claims. It was not clear if all of those on the list released by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, including a former spokesperson for Obama's National Security Council and Biden's coordinator for global COVID response. Gabbard says there was a treasonous conspiracy in 2016 by top Obama officials to undermine Trump claims that Democrats called false and politically motivated. And the Secretary General of Bangladesh Nationalist Party's Mirza Fakhrul on Tuesday said that the party is not in favor of introducing a proportional representation system in national elections. The BNP leader said that the people of Bangladesh are not accustomed to the PR system. It will not fully guarantee their democratic rights. He also stated that an acceptable election is the only solution to the current political and economic crisis. Well, the World Humanitarian Day was observed in Nepal on Tuesday by organizing several programs in the Himalayan nation. It is celebrated in Nepal to honor humanitarian workers and raise awareness about global humanitarian efforts. A Nepal humanitarian conference was organized in Kathmandu with active participation from various civil societies, government departments and other stakeholders. On the occasion, Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak said that Nepal is prone to disasters due to its geographical location. Government is formulating necessary laws and policies for emergencies in partnership with different sectors. And on to some business news now. Air Canada's unionized flight attendants reached a deal with the nation's biggest airline on Tuesday, bringing an end to their first strike in 4 decades, a disruption that had affected travel plans for hundreds of thousands of passengers. The union said it has completed mediation with the airline and its low-cost affiliate Air Canada Rogue. Air Canada announced it would begin gradually resuming operations on Tuesday, but full service could take over a week to restore. It also said that some flights will be cancelled over the next 7 to 10 days, with affected customers offered a refund, travel credit or rebooking on another airline. The flight attendants walked off the job last week after contract talks with the carrier failed. They were seeking compensation for duties like assisting with passenger boarding. And in sports and soccer, Liverpool winger Mohamed Salah won the Professional Footballers Association Men's Player of the Year award on Tuesday. Salah, who joined Liverpool in 2017, was the Premier League's top scorer last season with his 29 goals along with 18 assists, playing a key role in the club winning the league title, finishing 10 points ahead of the runners-up Arsenal. The 33-year-old had already clinched the Premier League Player of the Season award, the Golden Boot for most goals scored, and the Playmaker award for most assists, making him the first player to win all 3 awards in the same season. And Kylian Mbappe struck from the penalty spot as Real Madrid beat a dogged Osasuna 1-0 on Tuesday to make a winning start in La Liga under new coach Xabi Alonso. The France striker scored earlier in the second half, which was enough to seal the points in Alonso's first game in charge at the Santiago Bernabeu. Madrid is now unbeaten in their opening fixture of a league campaign since 2008. Mbappe finished as La Liga's top scorer with 31 goals in his first season in Spain and is now wearing the number 10 shirt vacated by Luka Modric after the Croatian left for AC Milan last month. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Well, let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.